Now that we've learned about the structure of the atom, what it's composed of, and the arrangement of its electrons and how that influences its reactivity, we want to think a little bit about how we can look in the world around us and differentiate between chemical changes, where those chemicals are reacting, atoms are actually forming or breaking bonds, and physical changes, which are just basically garden variety or other types of changes that appear or that occur around us that aren't necessarily chemical in nature. They don't actually change bonds, they don't break or form new chemical bonds. So, like I just said, physical changes do not produce a new substance. They do not form or break chemical bonds. So you're still dealing with the same substance, but there are changes that occur that sometimes fool us or might look like chemical changes. Some of the common ones are melting, freezing, or boiling. When those things happen, you might think there's a chemical change taking place, but really, H2O is still the same molecule. It looks exactly the same, whether it's in the gas state, moving around really quickly, or in the liquid state, where it's moving much more slowly and they're much more closely held together, or in the solid state, where they're basically locked into place and just vibrate. Um, the other uh, type of physical change is a change of shape, and that might include something like cracking an egg, for example. Um, the egg itself is still the same substance, even though it's in a much less useful form. Perhaps if you're trying to store it in your refrigerator, it's time to actually eat it once you've cracked it. But it's still the same substance. Nothing has really changed chemically about the shell itself or the yolk or the white. Another example would be crushing a can. The can looks a little different, but it's still the same substance. It's still aluminum. Now let's consider chemical changes where there's actually a breaking or forming of new chemical bonds. Now, of course, that's going to form a new substance with different bond structures. Examples would be burning, rusting, cooking, digesting. They're really all around us, different examples. Um, an egg, once you've cooked it, you've changed its chemistry. You can't really get back to the original chemistry of the yolk and the white once you've cooked the egg. And that's because the chemistry, the actual bonds within the egg yolk and egg white have changed. Similarly, if you burn paper, it becomes ash and also releases energy, and that's an example of a chemical change, no longer the same substance.